Hey y'all, it's Lacey, the Catholic icing lady, and today I'm going to show you how to draw these grapes in a stained glass window. If you don't want to draw your own window frame, you can find a link in the description below where you can print the frame before you begin. Otherwise, I will show you how to draw the whole window on your own, okay? So we're going to start with the grapes right in the middle of the paper, leaving space for our window frame. And we're going to start with a circle. Now I'm going to put another circle next to that. They don't have to be exactly the same size because grapes can come in different sizes, but they're mostly a very similar size. So I'm going to make one line of circles, and this is the top of my bunch of grapes. So as we draw more grapes, they're going to come down, creating kind of a triangle shape and getting to a point at the end. So for each row of grapes I add, it's going to be a little bit skinnier than the row of grapes before it. So I'm adding my second row of grapes right now, and I'm stopping right here because each one's going to get a little skinnier to create my triangle shape. Now I'm going to add another row of grapes. So I'm just going to keep drawing circles, and then I'm going to stop with this one because I'm making them skinnier and skinnier, continuing to my triangle shape. Start another row. I'm going to put in just a little grape right there. So I'm still bringing it in. So I'm going to start another row of grapes. Some more circles. Okay, we're getting down to the end here. So there's going to be less circles in each row until your bottom row just has one circle. So now you have your bunch of grapes. They're kind of in a big triangle shape. Okay, we're going to put some leaves in at the top, and grapes have kind of pointy leaves. So I'm going to start here and give my leaves some points like that. And then I'm going to make another leaf on this other side. So we have two big leaves at the top of our grape bunch. There. Now we are going to add some grapevines in, but first we're going to do the window frame that goes around the grapes. So if you already have your window frame, you can skip these steps. We're going to start here with a straight line across the bottom. And then because we're going to be bringing it up and making it kind of arched at the top, I'm going to make a dot to where I'm going to. And then on this side, I'm going to try to line it up. So I'm going to have another dot just about right here. And then it's going to come together in the middle at a point. So I'm going to give myself another dot right here. Now that I have my dots, I'm going to turn my paper, and it's going to make it really easy for me to draw the lines that I need to draw to make my window shape. So I'm going to come up to this dot and turn. Then I'm going to draw a line to this dot in the middle. There we go. And I'm going to turn my paper again. And this just helps because there's certain ways that our body naturally curves. So when you're drawing, sometimes with the way that your arm moves, it can just be really helpful to turn your paper. And it'll help you get a nice straight line. There. So now we have the outline of our window shape. So what I'm going to do now is come along and draw another line that just goes right beside these lines, so it'll parallel that line and just mirror the shape of it on the inside so that we get a window frame that goes all the way around the grapes. So we're just going to come in and carefully draw a line that is close to our outside window line but never touches it. That's a parallel line. I'm going to bring this one up to here. Then I'm going to just connect these at the top. So I'm going to bring this one up to the top right there. I'm going to turn my paper again and connect right here. Great job. So now we have our bunch of grapes and the window frame going around the grapes. Now we're ready to put in our grapevines because now they can go all the way to the edge of our stained glass. So I'm going to start in between my leaves here, and I'm going to make a curly Q line that goes around and around and then comes to the edge of the window and stops. So now I'm going to do one that goes the other way. So I'm going to add several loop-de-loops and then touch the window frame again. So that makes it seem a lot more like a bunch of grapes because it's so classic to have grapevines growing out of the grapes. I'm going to add one more down here, a loop-de-loop, and I'm going to end it right there. So now we're going to be ready to put in some stained glass pattern around the grapes. So the way I do that is to add a bunch of straight lines in random directions. So it's going to go from the window frame up until you get to your shape. So I'm going to bring that line down and I'm bringing these over. So it's just making a bunch of random shapes, straight line, and then I just stop when I get to the edge of my window or when I get to the edge of my grapes. So I can just make those shapes smaller if I want to by adding more lines inside of them. Or I can move along and keep adding more lines. So you just put these in there however you want to. It's going to be really, really a cool effect after we color the window. When we're ready to color, I'm going to tell you a trick that's going to make your stained glass window really pop and make it seem like those grapes are popping off that window. For now, we're just going to keep putting in our lines. The fun part is going to be coloring this all in and watching our window come to life. I'm almost around my window, so I'm just going to keep adding so I can add a longer line and then come in and break up that shape a little bit with some short lines. Just like that. And it looks like I'm just about done with mine. And in a few more where I think I need them. Okay, we're going to come in and break up the window frame a little bit too with just a little bit of shapes, some pattern here. So I'm going to start with some tiny little squares in the corner. And then also at the top, I'm going to add like a V shape to make a little square. Then I'm going to angle these lines at the corner here. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add little short lines that make these rectangles that are going to go all the way around our window. So line, 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 and it's just creating these little rectangle shapes. They're almost like brick shaped, and it doesn't matter if they're exactly the same size when you're coming up on your corners, but I'm trying to make them kind of the same size. So I'm going to keep making my short lines until I get all the way around my window frame. There we go. Voila, you have drawn a stained glass window with grapes. So now what I'm going to do is take my same black marker and I'm going to go around the inside of my window frame and I'm just drawing another black line right beside my first black line to just make this inside frame of my window just pop a little bit more. So it's just making like a double thick black line around this inside edge. So I'm going to do that also at the bottom of the window. This is just going to help accent a few pieces of our window and just really make it look a lot nicer and more detailed. Okay, so now I'm going to take my same black marker and I'm actually just going to fill in this area between the leaves because I just ended up with such small shapes right there that I'm just going to go ahead and fill that in black. So now I want to add the same accent to my grapevines that I did to the outside edge of that window. So I'm going to come for all my loop-de-loop lines that I did for my grapevines, and I'm also going to draw a black line right beside them to make them double thick as well. So that's just going to help the grapevine lines pop a little more than our stained glass lines that are in the background, so that our grapevines don't get lost in the stained glass. So I've got one more loop-de-loop grapevine line right here. And we're just going to make that double thick with our black marker. Okay, now I'm going to look at my bunch of grapes as if it's one big shape. And I'm also just going to outline the outside edge of the grapes. So not every single grape, just going along the outside edge to separate the bunch of grapes from the background of our stained glass. So I'm just going to come all the way around the bunch of grapes around this outside edge and add that darker line. And again, this is just going to help our window look really nice. And if you ever look at stained glass windows, they have that iron that goes in between the different colors, and some of the lines will be thicker than others, some of the shapes. So this is going to help our grapes to kind of pop off of that window background. You can see already it looks a lot nicer just by adding the double dark lines around our outlines. So now I'm going to teach you how to really make this picture pop with your use of color. So we're starting with purple grapes, which I use several shades of purple, but the idea is we're going to color the grapes and the leaves with cool colors. So your cool colors are blue, purple, and green. Those are your cool colors. So now for the design around the outside of the grapes, we're going to use only our warm colors. Warm colors are red, orange, and yellow. So because we're only going to utilize warm colors around the grapes, and then we utilized cool colors in the grapes, it's going to really help that picture pop against the background of the stained glass window. So I've got my markers here, and I'm using several shades of my warm and cool colors. So what I'm going to do in the outside frame of the stained glass window is come in again with cool colors. So the outside frame has cool colors, then the background has warm colors, then the grapes themselves again are cool colors. As you guys can see, I have several how to draw videos with more stained glass fun for you. So definitely check out my other videos if you enjoyed drawing these stained glass grapes today.